in. We hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Welcome into First Take. We'll try to get your week started off right. Max Kellerman, Stephen A. in the house. I'm Molly Karam.
The exam is starting. He has to put his books away. He's got to put the cheat sheet away.
No.
He's looking clean.
No, I'm never.
Open book test.
Well, look at you with all that paperwork in front of you. You act like it's just a glass case. It's a glass desk in front of you.
You guys do your homework.
Unbelievable.
Part of the job, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
All right, let's get into it. We kick things off in Texas. Sorry, Stephen A., but the Cowboys. We begin with them. They wanted to show their support for the Dallas Police Department and the families of the officers who were shot and killed by a sniper during a protest last month. So, at the start of training camp, the Cowboys walked on the field arm in arm with Dallas Police Chief David Brown and family members of the officers who were killed. Stephen A., what was your reaction?
First of all, let me say this. We were off the air. Obviously making the transition from the old era to the new era. We were on vacation, so we didn't have an opportunity to extend our deepest condolences and express our heartfelt condolences to the family of the victims. The 5 police officers killed in Dallas, our hearts go out to all of them. I'm speaking on behalf of the entire show here because I know everybody feels the same way. And Police Chief David Brown is absolutely sensational in terms of how he's handled this whole ordeal with the professionalism and the class. He deserves our praise, and he has received it nationwide, and it is very, very well deserved. I also like to sit there and say that in no way am I about to imply that the Dallas Cowboys were insincere in any way in terms of, you know, their heartfelt emotions in regard to that matter. If you've got a pulse, you've got blood circulating through your veins, obviously your heart goes out to all the family members of the victims, the loved ones left behind, etc. I am in no way trying to imply that the Dallas Cowboys are not sensitive to that they don't care, that what we saw from them yesterday as it pertains to locking arms with Police Chief David Brown and other police officers, that they were not sincere. My problem with the Dallas Cowboys is that we live in a world where we constantly talk about guys being role models, and I'm very serious here. Yes, I'm a Dallas Cowboy hater, but that's all in fun because I'm a native New Yorker, and obviously I like to root against the Dallas Cowboys. In this particular situation, I'm incredibly serious because I had our researcher extraordinaire, David Sabino, pull up a couple of situations involving the Dallas Cowboys. This is a list.
That's a long list.
This is a list of the Dallas Cowboys that have gotten in trouble over the last few years. I mean, it's everything here from NFL substance abuse to obviously bringing Greg Hardy on board, to arrest for brandishing weapons, to arrest for public intoxication, to arrest for family violence, to arrest with somebody charged with intoxication, manslaughter, to arrest involving DUI, to arrest involving shoplifting, to arrest involving marijuana possession charges. I mean, the list goes on, and I'm not going to sit up there and cast aspersions on those particular individuals on this particular day because I'm not joking. It's nothing to laugh about, and I'm being very serious. I'm saying that if you are America's team, if you are the team with the star on your helmet, playing in that billion-dollar playpen, etc., etc., I don't blame you one bit for doing what you did yesterday in terms of locking arms, taking the picture. Obviously, what happened was in Dallas, so we understand the correlation there. But it just got me to thinking that, you know what, you know, clearly while you don't wish this on anybody, and you know that the Dallas Cowboys as an organization, as individual players, and beyond as a fan base, nobody wishes anything like this to happen. Not if you got any kind of decency within yourself. It just took me back a second and said, you know what, if you have so much respect for the law, why don't you try obeying it as an organization? Why don't you try milking headlines for what you do on the football field instead of the transgressions that continuously happen off the field? That's the kind of thing that resonated with me, Max. It resonated with me profoundly, and it was the first thing that jumped on my mind. I got more to say, but go ahead.
Dallas Cowboys should do better off the field. We all should. I mean, you know, no one's perfect. And I get it. There's a special level, or was it a pouch, in Dante's Inferno for the hypocrites. You know, I understand you're behaving one way or saying something else, but I'm reminded of what the president said at the Dallas Memorial for those police officers when he told the story about that mother who took her 4 sons to the protest because she was worried about their safety given what was going on with the police and young African-American men in this country. And they're the police keeping the peace and allowing them to peacefully, ensuring that they can peacefully protest when this maniac opened fire.
Right.
And due to the heroism of the police in Dallas, it wasn't much worse than it already was.
That's right.
And the most moving part of the story, as the president was speaking at the memorial, was that the 12-year-old, I think he was, son, one of the 4 sons that the mother brought there, now wants to be a cop based on what he saw. And that was out of that tragedy was born this kind of uplifting, unifying, supportive theme. I think if the Cowboys, I understand that some of their behavior off the field, or maybe even disproportionate to the rest of the NFL, if you want to make that argument, is not good. But if there is a kind of larger humanitarian issue and a prison full of, people who've broken the law want to come together to show solidarity on that humanitarian issue, I'm all for it.
Right.
Let alone the Dallas Cowboys, who are a big, organization. I understand that a lot of them are millionaires. They make a lot of money. This is always the argument with superstar or professional athletes. They have all this money, and many of them went to college. Why aren't they doing better? But it's still, 75 people on a football team. You include the practice squad and everything. It's a lot of people, a lot of them from impoverished backgrounds, etc. I understand we'd like everyone to do better, but I think in this case, I am all for anyone who wants to show solidarity and support to the Dallas Police Department.
And in no way do I disagree with that point. I stand with you in unison in regards to that. I want to make that very, very clear. But what I'm talking about is what hits the mind's eye the second you see that. See, for example, I don't think the Dallas Cowboys were hypocritical. I think that the Dallas Cowboys were incredibly sincere. How can you not be? But are you telling me that the Dallas Cowboys, based on who they are, who they've been on the field and off the field, how they seem just as hell-bent on stealing headlines as they are in trying to win? Because we can't certainly say not winning, because they haven't done much of that over the last 20 years. In trying to win, you have such a zest for headlines. Are you trying to tell me that the critic out there doesn't look at you and question the legitimacy of your authenticity in terms of being so supportive? Now, again, those are people that are subhuman as far as I'm concerned, because you've got to believe, if you've got any kind of spirit inside you, okay, that they are clearly very, very sincere. And I'm certainly not challenging that. But what I'm saying is, when one transgression after another continuously takes place with the same organization, and you seem averse to the effects of it because you're stealing headlines because of it, the cynic out there, not Stephen A, as much of a cynic as I am of the Cowboys, but the abnormal cynic out there, the ultra uber cynic out there, is going to look at you and they're going to say, how authentic were you in all of this? Because you could have done what you did without gaining publicity for it. There was a way to do it without everybody having to see it, but you wanted to make sure that you sent that message. Yet we have a track record here which you associated with transgressions, not violent ones. Let's be clear about that. Not violent ones, but nevertheless transgressors. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Some of them. I'm sorry. Greg Hardy was on the Panthers before the Cowboys. That's why I didn't bring that up. But here's the deal. And this is why it's so important. This is where it resonates with me, perhaps differently than you, Max, perhaps differently than you, Molly. When you think about some of the things that emanated, or some of the things that led up to the Dallas shooting, Black Lives Matter and police brutality and the things that were taking place, the protests and unarmed black citizens getting gunned down by police officers, etc., etc. Those kind of things that we've talked about all over the airwaves, on the news or what have you, well, what's the common denominator here? You're talking about black men. And so when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, those who have been transgressing, okay, the fact of the matter is it ain't the white dudes doing it on the Dallas Cowboys. And so when you have that going on and you look at that reality, again, I'm saying to you that I would hope that a moment like this elevated the level of priority in their mind. We need to fly straight and do right and make sure that we don't just practice this when a police officer in front of us who's a hero in our eyes based on how he handled everything in the aftermath of those shootings. We want to sit up there and extend this far beyond that particular day when we're locking arm in arm with police officers and bringing attention to violence on both sides. Violence against police officers, violence on behalf of a few police officers. We want to make sure we bring attention to that. But I'm saying in the case of the Dallas Cowboys, it needs to extend further than that because they're the Dallas Cowboys. And you need to convince us that you're not just looking to make headlines all the damn time. That's what I'm saying.